are live. Hey, y'all. Welcome back to my channel, Watch Your Mouth Reviews, where I am here to give my honest review while trying to watch my mouth. It won't happen this video, but that's okay. You know it. It is what it is. Joining me as always, my co-host, my girl, my BFF, Mrs. Best, aka my girl Amina. Y'all say what's up
Hello.
to it.
Hello,
Make sh-
hello.
Make sure y'all don't stalk me now, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. If you like what you see, especially. I got over 1,000 views on my first ever couples retreat. Y'all can subscribe to this channel. Y'all ain't got to be like that. That's okay though. But hey, especially if you like what you see, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to Mrs. Best's also YouTube channel. We do recaps on her channel as well, where I'm her co-host. It's a lot of fun. So you guys were at the up and above. We are doing MTV's Couples Retreat Season 3, Episode 5 and 6. We're just decided to go ahead and combine them just because they don't really give as much as they have in previous seasons, especially since MTV took over the contract. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. How you doing, Mrs. Best? I'm gonna go ahead and ask you how you doing before we start.
I'm all right. I'm all right. Getting this background together. I hate living on a main street. It's so loud.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
I totally get that. But it's cool. It's cool. We gotta do what you gotta do. So we are talking. Let's go ahead and get into it. So the episode actually picks up where it left off, which was with Fallon and Chris conversating about Jalen. And at the same time they are doing that, Jalen is having a conversation with Tony and kind of just opening up to him about his life and what he's experienced. We realize that in this episode, Jalen grew up without his father. His
Hmm.
mother was single and she didn't get no man or have a stepfather in his life as she was raising him. So all the things that Fallon is looking for him to do as far as being a man, he doesn't realize that simultaneously he is doing that with providing, and that's one of the things that Tony pointed out is that you're doing things that a man does. You just didn't run away from your responsibilities, which is what obviously his father had did. So I wanted to ask you kind of in a sense, why did why does this story always just seem so common in these things? Like we always hear this.
Um, I mean, it's no secret. I think in general, people try to take the whole thing with dads not being there and attach it to the Black community. I think we're just one of those communities that speaks about it more, but it seems like fathers in general, it seems to be a regular thing, regardless of where you're from and all of that, that somebody no matter how much money you got, how well you grew up, there's somebody that you know in your life that's likely close to you that didn't know their dad. And we always see it go in the same direction. They either are these really, really financially responsible men, or they're extremely present if they have children themselves. There's some men that do everything they can to be opposite of their fathers, which to
Yeah,
them is good. And then there's some that don't. Um, I do think the issue with him being so young and then being thrown into fame, like because these are real people, I do hope that outside of this show, he's seeking therapy or some sort of a life coach of some sort for himself. Because it seems like if he has the help, he's one of those people who could probably reach a breakthrough and start seeing considerable change sooner than later.
absolutely. And I agree. I think that he's in the right direction, but I feel like, the toxic masculinity of it all keeps us from seeking that help because, and we'll get into that because there was a lot of toxic masculinity thrown in this episode specifically, and a little bit in the next episode as well, which we'll recap. I'm not going to go scene by scene. I'm just going to kind of go through the things that kind of stuck out because we'll be here all night if we really went through scene by scene. But one of the things I do want to talk about moving into the next scene is Shamari and Ronnie. So Shamari confronts Ronnie about the whole, in 10 years, do you think the sex will uphold the relationship? Shamari said yes, and Ronnie said, I don't know. And I don't know why they're not diving deeper into their issue. I know why they're not doing it, but for the shits and giggles of it all, why they're not really putting it, say what it is. Just say, because I want Shamari to admit it. I really do. I just want her to admit that she's not giving because she's not into it anymore. I really think that's what it is.
I think I used to think like that Shamari probably enjoyed women more, but now I'm starting to think that she might like women and men equally or whatever. She probably struggles to admit that, in my opinion. But separate from that, I feel like most of why people feel that they give nothing is the same repetitive issues from 20 years ago that they're complaining about. I've There's definitely something with Shamari the more that shows, especially from was it episode 6, the one that we just saw last night. There's definitely more going on with her individually. I personally am starting to think while Ronnie DeVoe is a handsome man, to a woman Shamari's age, most women wouldn't end up with somebody that much older. I think we just see that more with celebrities and stuff, but I don't think she's attracted to him sexually.
Do you think, because when I look at Ronnie and Shamari, I look at Love and Hip Hop ATL's Kirk and Rashida, where
Oh
he
no,
has
that's
he
an
has
insult to them. Oh
he
Lord.
had no, but listen to my point. He had groomed Rashida to a point to where, because he got her at such a young age,
Mhm.
that he's really groomed her to mold her into what he wanted her to be, and she ended up being that. Do you think that the same thing is happening with Ronnie and Shamari, where she wasn't as young as Rashida, but she was around that same age line, because he kept saying she had her stuff together. And mind you, she was in that singing group when she was a teenager, so she was getting fame at a younger age. Do you think that that's really what we're looking at? Is that she was groomed and she's fighting that groomed?
No,
Okay.
because leave it to her. The man is always traveling so much that when would he find the time to be so-called grooming her? That's just petty. But on a serious note, I don't think that
Hmm.
he doesn't give me that. Like, I think women in situations like Shamari's and I forgot how I'm forgetting the name of the person you just
Ronnie.
auditioned, and Ronnie and Kirk and Rashida. The difference is, I think that I think Kirk took what he could get and then used her age to get away with certain things, obviously. I don't
Hmm.
think with Ronnie that is the issue. Um, I think he's attracted to his wife, likes his wife, loves his wife. I just think that as she's gotten older, maybe she's becoming less attracted to him. I don't know for what, but personally, I don't even feel like they really have like solid issues that are bad enough to like be on a couples retreat and be needing to solve their issues on TV. I still get that this is all a check for Ronnie and Shamari. I do think that this week, the recent episode we just watched last night, I do think that she is willing to open up about stuff. I just get the sense that Shamari is very, very private and nobody really knows what's going on. I I don't trust anything that she has to say
I was about to say
anymore.
that girl is not private.
Well,
Real
private,
Housewives of Atlanta, that's private.
I mean, it's not private, but I'm saying compared to what most people share on reality TV, we really don't know much. Every show she's been on over the years, you hear the same things, and she doesn't go out and
We
talk
hear
about
this
anything differently ever.
exactly. We hear the same things because it's the same issue. They're just trying to
I
stir
think
it up
they're
to make
using
it
it
look
to
like,
avoid talking about other shit.
yes, I
Yeah.
do. I feel like that's what it is. I feel like they're just using other things and stirring it to make it look like it's a bigger issue. Same thing with Breezy and Chris. And I said it, and Breezy just kind of proved my point. We'll get to that in a minute, but she proved my point of what I really feel their issue is, and Chris is not going to admit it. So
Nope.
the going and moving forward, they are having this. I don't know if I call it a Magic Mike night because it's Tierra's birthday, but they're having like this Magic Mike on this rooftop.
That's Fat
Balance,
Boy's wife, right? I
huh?
don't know why I can't remember. That's Fat
Fat
Boy's
boy,
wife.
Fat Boy's wife. Yes.
Forgive me,
So
y'all.
no, you're good because they're all forgettable in one way or another. But it just they are. They just you forget until you are agitated with the show even more. But what I will say about that, because when they bought out the man, the Magic Mike man, I don't want to call him a stripper because that's not what he was doing, but they bought out the man, and all those men, you can separate the toxic ones from the ones that was like that doesn't bother me at all. Ronnie, Jock, and a little bit of Apollo, y'all. it was y'all know what y'all signed up for. Y'all, I'm pretty sure somewhere down the line this was in that contract somewhere. So for y'all to sit up there and do all of that, that was just in such poor taste. They didn't want to participate. I think a lot of it was because they was intimidated. But just to kind of give y'all a scoop of what I'm talking about, AJ wanted them to express their freedom because I'm not going to bring up the and you realize I skipped over Jock and Kendra because I don't want to re-talk about them anymore. But she brought up in a conversation she had with Jock and Kendra that she had a threesome with two men. It was her, and what she wanted them to do was kind of express how they do foreplay. That's what this exercise was about. It was about foreplay. It was about how you are sensual with your other person. So they all kind of did something weird. We saw Jock suck Kendra's toe. I don't know why we have to keep looking at that. I don't know why he
Can
keeps
I
saying.
just say, I know you don't want to talk about them, but the episode with the Chippendales.
That's what we're talking about. Yeah.
Yes, I with Jock and Kendra specifically to them. I'm mad I deleted my notes. I got to get better. I'm irritated because I had thought when I first saw them on here, I was like, couples retreats on MTV, huh? Then I heard once it was on TV, okay, Love and Hip Hop is coming to MTV. Not only is Love and Hip Hop coming to MTV, but Love and Hip Hop is coming to MTV on the exact night and replacing the slot for a couples retreat.
Right.
So in the beginning of this, before we even knew that was going to happen, I said, I feel like they just own here because they want to get people who are watching MTV or get that audience prepared to watch Love and Hip Hop on MTV.
Oh,
Because,
absolutely.
I guess I was looking at some stuff on Instagram and the Love and Hip Hop community is like, why is it on MTV? I don't know why it matters, but I just feel like Jock and Kendra at this point, anything they do is just to help her look better. And I think it's so that she can feel better because one important thing AJ did show when she was talking about her trains and threesomes and foursomes and whatever else she likes to do is that Jock is okay and settled in himself, that the public calling him a hoe and saying don't date him, he's trash, this and that. He's okay with himself, that he doesn't allow the outside factors and opinions of others to impact himself internally. But Kendra is still basically what we got from the scene, which was important, still talking and complaining, not because it doesn't seem like she's hurt, but more so because of public embarrassment and perception. I just feel the point AJ made was important. You have to be okay with you, especially if you choose to stay with someone who has cheated on you. You have to expect that people on the outside are going to have something to say, and you have to be okay with yourself and your choice in that person to not allow it to impact you to where you arguing and all of that. But that's all I want to say.
I appreciate the insert. And yes, that is a very valid thing to point out. And I thank you for doing that. The reason why I don't bring up is because I don't think Kendra got the lesson. I don't think Kendra even that went in one ear, not the other. And I'm not going to waste my breath with that. So if you want to waste yours, absolutely. You go ahead, my dear. I am not wasting my time
I
with her.
just feel like I have to address it because I
No,
am the love of hip hop, and I know that I feel like this and what happened on this show is going to become a topic or focal point on Love and Hip Hop because outside of him cheating on her, they're not interesting. But that's all.
like I said, she said it. Jock and Kendra are not interesting. I don't
We're not.
care. I don't care because it's beating a dead horse. She gonna do the same thing on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, and I can't wait till we get to that episode so I can sit here and say, "See, I told you." That's why I didn't talk about them in couples retreat because I already know what it is. I'm so sick of them too. But anyways, like we saying, moving forward and going, I didn't lost my train. Let me go back to my notes. See, I thought I was gonna be able to do this from memory. Now you got me all. We were talking about the Magic Mike night thing and how all the
Yes.
guys were comfortable. And they end up coming out of their shell at some point. All of the men. They end up doing, Ronnie gave us an underwear shot that we did not need. And, Apollo was scooting on the floor and picked up Shireen. I was like, oh, okay. We getting somewhere here. And when we get to Breezy and Chris, now a lot of people don't understand what she did because I was reading the comments on Instagram and stuff. She did the sensual thing, and that's how she got her from the beginning. She knows just to look at it, even though you couldn't see her eyes because she had on sunglasses, but she did a sensual thing. And that's powerful enough, especially when you're connected in a way that they can just give you a look and you just ready. So that's what she did. But a lot of people were confused. I said, no, that's a very powerful thing
It's
to
because a
do.
lot of people, believe they in love and believe they have these relationships and found their forever persons. But the older I get,
Hmm.
the more I see that when people are choosing their spouses and who to have kids with, they're checking off checklists. And if they're not doing that, then they're working on the timeline, especially for us ladies in this biological clock. Because for my spouse, like we could be across a room, across an entire stadium. If
Hmm.
he looks at me in a certain way, I'm dropping the draws. It's just the way it goes. I don't care. It's the way it is. That's probably why we still married. But it should people forget intimacy and foreplay is not just touching and me
Yes.
suck on your big toe. You feel me? It's not all of that at all. Intimacy should be like just the look in a crowd of people. Like that should excite you or
Yeah, like even in your intellect, like you should be able to intellectually connect with them in a way to where it does. Like there's just, that's just what people need to learn. And I appreciate Breezy and Chris, even though I got my eye on them.
I
I
think what
appre-
it is also is people they see same-sex couples, I feel like they always try to find something wrong if they're not a
no, we're
same.
gonna get into it.
In my opinion, just for what I've seen people do, that's what it seems like with them.
Well, because Jock made a comment, oh, perfect Breezy and all this, and I think everyone sees it, but they don't see that being an issue. And I
Mhm.
think that that's where we need to kind of turn tables, because I've said this in all my other lives that I've done on this show. I have said it. Their issue is not small. One person in the relationship being the know-it-all is not a small thing.
That's a big
When
deal.
that's a
I mean,
big yes.
somebody's feelings, opinions, wants, and necessities are not being heard.
And the fact that AJ, even in the episode 6, is not picking up on that, I'm like, why is no one seeing this?
I
Because
think that Tony sees it, but
because they're women, he's not going to.
that's what I was gonna say.
Yes.
And I don't think I don't think it's because they're women. He seems like the type I like this guy. I've been looking him up just because he has saved this show. Like, cause you know me, if
Hmm.
I want to do something, I'm not gonna do it. If I didn't like it, I was gonna be like, if nothing good in the show, we got to recap something else. But
I'm like
he
wanting to
is
drop
so
it, but you.
important. His accolades, his knowledge, and the fact that he takes and he applies a humanistic model to his stuff. Not human. I can't say that. Y'all don't know what that is. He takes his personal experiences as well as the experiences that he has watched his people throughout life experience, and he finds a way to connect it. He finds a way to get the points to land. But it seems like producers on the show, I won't even say AJ, I think they want her with the girls and him with the guys. But not all females will receive a message well from the men and vice versa for men to women. But I just feel like she doesn't know. I think it is what you had to say. I'm not gay. I'm not a lesbian. I'm not really a part of that community. But I think that it shows that if you're not a part of the community, even when it comes to practicing life coaching and helping people, psychology and all of that, you have to have an understanding of that. And that's why I say AJ is cool, but they need to have like a licensed therapist or psychologist on the set, because then Tony's getting all this extra pressure put on him to do the right thing. And as psychologists, they are trained in things of like not as much homosexuality or LGBTQ, whatever the word is that we call it today, but they have some type of training that people experience this, and their experience is different from the
Hmm.
traditional heterosexual person. We're taught that as
Absolutely.
like they don't teach that to life coaches, and that's why AJ needs to go because she's missed a lot. That's important
She
in
has,
every episode.
and I feel like by you not addressing this issue, you're giving all the other couples the wrong like interpretation of those two. Like you're giving them the wrong vibe by you just trying to find something versus actually watching them individually. Because if you
Mhm.
watch them individually, you notice that Breezy runs the relationship and Chris is
Yep.
very passive.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
the fact that you're not picking up on that is like, no, you're looking at something to be the issue versus their personality traits conflicting.
Yeah, but she doesn't understand a lot. That's all I'll say.
Well, I'm not gonna go. Okay.
I mean,
But
there's just AJ's good. She's really good. I respect her for doing what she's doing, and it was
mhm.
nice to see her transition from film and other stuff to this. But I think that she has to be willing to kind of step down off of the pedestal of knowledge she thinks that she has and be willing to take in some knowledge from other people or even people she wouldn't expect to learn from. You can't
I
get
agree.
all of your
I agree.
skills just from reading a book and taking the class. She definitely needs to get a little refresher. That's what I'll say. Or be with older people. She's I feel like her generation is not able to reach these younger couples because all of these people are like under 25, with the exception of like a few.
Yeah, and that's another thing I wanted to kind of bring up a little bit. I know because we're at Tiara's birthday party after the show is over, and Jalen makes the speech, about how he didn't feel like he was the man for Fallon based on her own experiences of
Mm.
having men. And honestly, I wish he could have seen these episodes because you weren't even the issue
No,
at all. Like,
I
you
was
weren't even the
expecting him to
issue.
be.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was like the things that he was saying in that moment that made Fallon cry. To me, it felt like more so you just validated her being on some bullshit versus you actually not seeing the real situation.
He's very smart, and I think that he's very wise for his age.
I think he's
But
very smart, but I think there's a lack of ignorance because I used to be like Jalen when I was in my 20s. I
mm,
used because everybody came to me for advice because they thought I knew it all,
we
but
sure did.
realistically, it was some bullshit because I had a lot to learn. In
Hmm.
that say, I should have been learning with you. I think me reading books and me studying psychology at that time in my 20s, I think that that was just kind of me putting together math problems, but
Hmm.
really not experiencing things for myself. Because even at 33, I still don't know it all. And I wish I could say, I'm glad y'all made it because I probably led y'all halfway to hell. Like, that's really. So I think that that's the same thing Jalen is going through, where he feels like he does know, but he understands his ignorance at the same time.
He's
It's
definitely going through some sort of a discovery, but
yeah,
I thought I wasn't going to like him when he came on the show, especially with the narrative. If watching Jaden and Fallon makes me wonder why they would not speak out like to the press when all the stuff went down with Simon and Portia. It's just
that's because it was her embarrassment.
yeah.
So if we look at it, she's embarrassed by that whole Simon and Portia thing. Fallon is embarrassed,
Hmm.
and the problem with that is when you're embarrassed, you don't want reminders because then it looks like you were the problem all along.
She was the problem all along. I think not with Simon, but in
No,
this
I was going to say
relationship.
in this relationship with Jalen, absolutely, she's the problem. With Simon
Yeah,
Porter, no, she was not the problem. They
yeah,
both were on some bullshit.
yeah.
But no, but I'm talking about, yeah, but the situation with her and Jalen, absolutely, she's the problem.
I feel
Absolutely.
like she got with him because they probably flirted. She probably knew he liked her. She was his boss or whatever. I feel like when she and Simon separated, and I
Hmm.
think this is why she's having trouble on the show, in my opinion, because she hasn't really had any breakthroughs or anything, in my opinion, that lands. I feel like she got with him partly because he was a safe person. She knew him, they was cool. But I feel like the biggest part that led her to make that choice is, oh, they're together. Now they're engaged. Now suddenly they're engaged and having a baby. People don't believe it, but like people will do dumb shit, like bring a child into the world or marry a person,
Hmm.
become engaged just so that they can look and feel like they got a one up on their ex. Cause that it just didn't make sense to move that fast. And I don't know why people keep doing this when y'all break up with people. Rebounds like never work. It's
Well, the
very rare.
problem with Fallon is she don't want to be alone, and that's the problem. Fallon doesn't
Mhm.
want to be alone because she doesn't like who she is, and that's the problem. When you don't like your own company, you're not going to be good company to someone else. You're going
Mhm.
to be exactly what we're seeing right now, which is a whole tyrant to this 23-year-old man. The fact
Mhm.
that he has to experience this at this young age, he's going to do one of two things. He either is going to either be bad at picking women or he's going to resent them. So I just hope he gets up on. I hope he does see therapy after this. I hope that this was the segue where he starts to get therapy. And I'm glad him and Fallon are not together in real time because I
Mm.
just can't see them going much further than where they are right now. I just cannot
Probably
see it.
separate from her little pain, looking at some of her dating history, looking things up. She liked to get with people who have money. So I feel like the not wanting to be alone thing is a thing. Yes, I feel like that's a part of it, but then I also feel like a bigger part of it is he's taking care of all the bills financially. We did not know that because it's like they're
Yeah,
obviously fighting for something that is not there. And anybody 7 years older than a 23-year-old knows. Like if I was dating a 23, I would let they ask. Oh, I actually a former mutual friend of ours.
uh-oh. Did we lose you? Uh-oh, we lost her, guys. Sorry about this. Internet sometimes can be. I'm gonna try to get her out and get her back in. Okay, let me see if this works. Yikes, it did not work. So I'm just gonna continue on and then we'll just get her when she comes back. So um moving forward from there, the episode actually comes back to them doing another event, which is the whole circus thing. So before they get to that event, they were told to wear leotards and spandex. And when it comes to the spandex and everything, the men were so uncomfortable with it that Jock and Ronnie did not even want to wear theirs. But then we also see that Fat Boy was into it. He was like, "Yeah, I'll wear this. I ain't got no problem." He has no shame in his game. That dude is so ready to even, you know, I don't want to say make a fool of himself because that's not the right terminology, but he is ready to, just be the life of the party. He's not embarrassed. He's not ashamed of who he is. And that's a good thing. Like, a lot of black men need to inhabit that of not being afraid of themselves. Because I think that that's where we're seeing how a lot of these men act, especially Apollo, especially Ronnie, and especially Jock, that they're afraid of themselves in a big way. Mrs. Best is back, you guys. So I'm going to tell her where we left off.
I have
All
no
right.
idea what happened.
No,
The
you good, love.
internet
You
didn't
good.
stop.
I was continuing on with the circus event. I was letting them know about the whole Jock and Ronnie not wanting to wear the leotard or the spandex, but how Fat Boy was definitely ready to do that. So,
Ronnie did not want to wear spandex. Men
not
with spandex are funny though. I didn't. What's the big deal?
there is no big deal. It's just this is toxic masculinity. This is them thinking their uncle that judges them for everything they do is around that corner and is about to, tease them and everything. That's what this is. This had nothing to do with them wearing no spandex. This had everything to do with, oh, America's watching y'all. We can't look, effeminate. And that's what kills me about straight men and like all the time is that they always are so image conscious. And it's like you don't have to be image conscious. Wear the spandex. So when we get to the event, they actually had basketball shorts on. A lot of them, I think all of them did, even Tony, which I was surprised at Tony as well. I was like, it's not that big of a deal. It's not.
You have to remember that society trains men to think a certain way and operate a certain way. Just like girls are told when we're in a dress to cross our legs. Because I have a lot of brothers and I'm one of few women actually in my family. I've seen a lot of men. In my family, we got gay people, straight people, whatever. They're accepting, but they're just like men. Like, don't be out here, no what do they call them, booty shorts.
Oh, the hoochie daddy shorts that everybody's wearing.
All grabbers, as my
Yeah,
dad says. Like,
it's like
I
Lord,
mean,
we got
it's
so much further to go in life. I swear we do. We ain't gonna never get there. It seemed like.
give the women something to look at, y'all. Like sweatpants season's a thing, so spandex, that's even
And
better.
I felt like when I actually saw the outfit, when I actually saw Jock wear it, I was like, okay, that's not that bad.
Ian Jock is a fool.
Yeah,
He'll
and
put
Jock is
on
a fool
anything.
anyway. Jock
That
was gonna
man
be
had a
ready.
perm and some finger waves. Okay, he gonna put on some spandex.
Jock ain't paying attention to nobody but him. Like for him to have a problem with it at first and then actually end up wearing it, that was hilarious to me. So they're given their assignment. that they, as a couple, have to go through this. It wasn't a trapeze wire. What is that swing that you have to do? We see it all the time.
That's trapeze, right?
But I thought
That's a
trapeze is when
sport.
you walk the line with the thing holding your balance. I thought that's what that was.
I think it's all a sport, but I don't, I don't go to the circus and I am not in the circus.
They
So
don't do that at the circus. Well, they do, but it's not in this today's circus. It's a little bit more advanced than that. But the first couple to go were Breezy and Chris, and I actually was shocked that they went first. And then when I thought
Pretty
about
much
it for a
why.
moment, no, I was shocked at first. I said, "Oh, they going first, okay." Because I'm thinking of Chris being so passive that I'm not thinking Breezy runs that situation and it's gonna make them go first. So Breezy did it no problem. And when she was scared, it was actually like, oh, and then we end that episode not knowing whether or not she jumped or not. So when we come back into episode 6,
That's
we
how you
realize
know
she
they
did
had
it.
nothing. They ended an episode with us wondering if somebody was going to jump in a damn place where production and staff and even the people in the place have warned you that you're safe. You're connected to things, so there's not much to drop. And then you're landing. You're not landing on the floor. If you go to the left, you're in a foam pit. If you go to the right, you're on a small, soft mattress. That you're not. I was annoyed with everybody acting scared. I felt like, with the exception of, I feel like Chris was genuinely afraid. I feel like Fat Boy was genuinely afraid.
Yes.
That's it. Everybody else was bullshitting.
Even Fallon, you thought Fallon was bullshit?
Alan was bullshitting. I've never seen anybody so afraid of heights and making the noise of tears. But there's no, your nose isn't running, your eyes are not red, you're not
Because
puffy. There were no tears coming out of her eyes. The girl wasn't freaked out enough for her baby hairs to lift. To me,
what
look,
got me about her, she was tee hee and joking and everything, especially when Jalen went up there. She was laughing at everything up until it was her moment to go. And she actually did it. So it was like, but she did the
oh,
full
speaking of her
exercise.
dude, Jalen, now we know why she is trying to stay with the 23-year-old. The man got a big old man part. Eggplant
I mean,
emoji.
are we surprised?
I I don't know. I don't think of these things, honestly. Like, I'm not thinking like, oh, maybe he got
I
a big
mean,
dick
come
and
on.
that's
When a
why she's
30-year-old
with him.
woman get a 23-year-old and is
It had to
genuinely
be
trying to get a
something.
connection, trust me, it's for the maintenance. I promise you, it is for the maintenance. We just got lucky that he actually has financial stability as well to take care of her and all of 7 of her, well, 6 of her tribe, because the number 7 belongs to him too. But come on now, we're not gonna act like we really in this situation. We're looking at this woman, we're looking at this man, and maintenance wasn't at the top of her list. Oil changes and tune-ups. I'm sorry. It
Shut
was
up,
all that was
James.
all of it her
Not
list.
oil changes and tune-ups.
Oil changes and tune-ups. And she ain't even that old, which is so crazy to me. But yes, trust me, women. I know many women that have done what Fallon and Hess did. They didn't stay with them, but they said it's for regular maintenance, baby. You just don't understand. Because yes, women start their sexual peak at 35.
Mhm.
And it lasts for a very long time. Like I think up until maybe 47, 48. That's when premenopause symptoms come. So yeah, that's a whole 12 years of sexual peak where they're just gonna constantly want it. And she's kind of prematurely at that point. So yeah, it makes a whole lot of sense. That was the first thing that came to my mind when I first learned about them being a couple. I said, oh, it's for the maintenance. I get it. I
For
ain't
the
mad at her.
maintenance.
I ain't mad at her. I'm not mad at Fallon. I'm not mad at her at all because it's like, yeah, get the maintenance because men stop at their sexual peak when they are like at 25, and then that's when they start slowing it down.
Yeah,
Some men,
he
unless
was
they're
with that old
hypersexualized.
ass pregnant belly having Gobadia. So
that
look, she
was
needed that was more than
that
maintenance.
was more than maintenance, honey.
That
That was
was
that was maintenance and bills, but
look, right. The maintenance, the tune up, she fixed the alternator and some other parts. The
no, that's when they throw the whole car away. They ain't trying to play with people like we can get a
like,
whole
it
nother
was
one
the
up in
car.
here.
She
Okay,
switched
we
them
got a
out.
whole okay, new titties and all. Let me shut up.
He said titties and all. Oh,
Let me shut
Fallon.
up. Let me shut up.
Oh,
Okay.
she's funny.
So now we get to, Fallon, she makes this whole hysteria, but ends up doing it fully.
Hmm.
Because if she was really that distraught, I felt like she would have just failed. Like Fat Boy did.
Fat boy, yeah. He didn't want to do it. He's like, okay, all
Hmm.
right. Oh, my body weight's here. I'm gonna just slide on off of this.
Right. So I'm gonna go ahead and skip to dinner because I mean, the obvious is that we know that Ronnie has now left to go do a show with New Edition.
Mhm.
But I'm gonna go ahead and just skip that part because we'll tie back into it when we talk about Shamari. But they go to dinner, and Young Jock is sleeping. He done slept in a car on the way to dinner. He done slept at the actual dinner. He is sleepy. Jock had a I was like, Jock had a
Jock
gig
is
before
my
this.
husband. Jock is Mr. Best. I swear to you, not with the cheating and stuff, but my husband ain't got no baby mamas, okay? But he works 12-hour night shifts. This man will fall asleep anywhere. I'm trying to tell you, it don't matter the position, the location, the noise. If he tired, he gonna go to sleep. And them glasses is all you need. And Kendra, you could tell she's used to it.
Absolutely,
And
because
she
she was
just lets
carrying
him
on the
sleep.
conversation. She just let him sleep. I got this for both of us. That's exactly how she was acting at the table. So AJ brings out a moment to where she says that there was a prize at the end of the circus event. That the prize was whichever couple impressed her the most with how supportive they were going to win a simple little date. So she ends up picking Breezy and Chris, which was the strategic thing of them all. I was not surprised that she did this. Not to say that Chris or not Chris Breezy was not as supportive of Chris because she was afraid. She was very supportive, but it was like you picked it because you still trying to dissect them versus you needed to speak with them individually. I think if you spoke with them individually, maybe you would have gotten what the rest of us are seeing. So you don't think so? You don't think she would have got it if she spoke with them individually?
No. She spoke to a lot of people individually. Just
I
because you
think she
get
would have
it,
got it.
even if she does get it, don't mean she know how to fix it or the points to make to help them. I don't know. I just feel like AJ, they got to get rid of her if there's going to be another season, or they have to keep her and add Tony as like a regular and maybe somebody else as a regular. I think we have to remember that we're going through like this is always happening, but generations that many of us recognized as being children or when we were older, or generations that we're used to not, we would expect them not to know anything in life. I think it's Gen X or Z, I can't remember which one. They're now becoming adults.
Right.
So someone, and I'm not even calling AJ old because she's not that old, and neither
Right.
is Tony, but you have to be careful with that. If you want a cast that's a variety of people, diversities,
Hmm.
sexualities, all of that, you need to have a variety of leaders there to help and guide them. I don't think AJ would have got it. I really just stand on what you said. I don't think she knows what to do with the same sex couple at all.
No,
Uh,
she doesn't. And that was made apparent when they were actually in the car on their way to do the zip lining on
mhm.
Fremont Street,
She's like, of course
where
we've had problems. Like, this is a couple's retreat, meaning that some people might just be here to strengthen their relationship per se, not to work on unsolved issues. But it's
I
like the
just
fact
feel
that she
like there
didn't
was
ask the
so many
questions.
yeah, there were so many moments where Breezy was telling on herself
Mhm.
and she didn't pick up on any of that. Like it was just like, okay, so are you really paying attention or are you just waiting for a situation to happen for you to pick up that their issue is that one is way too passive and the other is way too in her mind. If that
Yeah.
makes sense, because I don't want to say aggressive, because I don't think she's aggressive at all. I don't even want to say she's assertive. She's just in her mind and in her way when it comes to her relationship, because she kept saying, the things that we're going through, we already fixed. I'm like, no, 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 no. In your mind, you told her the problems were fixed, and she just agreed to it because it's better to keep you on her arm than to disseminate with the relationship. And see, and that's the thing. I need to know Chris's background. This episode 6 made me think AJ needs to dive into this young lady's past. I need to know what happened because to me, and this is alleged, I'm not saying this is what this lady went through, but Chris has given me that she was with someone that used to be abusive to her physically.
Um, I didn't get that, but I won't say that that's not it. I just don't feel that I think this is her first time on television, and I think that people keep forgetting that that can be uncomfortable for some people. And then her first time on television, she's now proclaiming this relationship with this woman. So I feel like there's a lot about Chris we don't know. but I feel like a big part of why we don't know it, it's not just the relationship, which is easy to forget on a relationship show,
Mhm.
but she's never been on camera before. Everybody on this cast has been in the spotlight or on camera before,
Right.
except for Chris. So I feel like that's why she's so quiet. And then when she does make little statements, you, I think she's might also be a bit starstruck by some of the people there, in my personal
I
opinion.
don't know if it's I get what you're saying, and I
Mhm.
agree with you to a certain extent. It could be that she is nervous and maybe a little bit reserved and shy. I will give you that, but it's something about the way she is so passive. Because even a shy person is not going to just be so passive with their partner. There has to be some sort of like pushback, and she's giving
Mhm.
me nothing.
Mm.
And to me, it seems like and I'm not talking about she was physically abused. I'm not saying that for people out there that thinking of physically abused. I'm talking about manipulated. I'm talking about someone coming in there and she was definitely afraid to lose and she lost that person. So
Mm.
she reserves herself to be quiet because she's afraid of losing Breezy. I really feel like that's really what it is. I feel like she's afraid to lose this person because there's a lot of support.
She definitely seems and behaves like she's afraid to lose Breezy. I can agree
Yes.
with that. But
Hmm.
some people just too quiet for you to comment on, and either need to come back and do something else publicly to get like a second chance so we can get to know you, or maybe just continue
Or
doing
let something
what
be
we're doing.
exposed in this show. I hope and I'm praying somewhere in these next few episodes that something hinders her to where she comes out because I need to see it in order for me to really assess what I'm looking at here. So moving on from there, they went on their little date. They all did the zip line. AJ said she was definitely afraid of this. It's not that big. I've done
That
it.
was
It's not that.
weird. You
It
take
was. It
people
was
who are
strange.
afraid of heights to the circus park to do an activity with heights to help them overcome fears.
To
And then
me,
you think
to me,
that
that's not a fear if you're willing to do it.
why was the prize something involving heights again? This
Yeah,
time you're
it was.
higher up and floating above concrete.
It, to
Who-
me, it's strange when someone says, "I'm definitely afraid, but I'm going to do it," just to show you. Then that means you're not afraid. If
Mhm.
you're wanting to do it, usually people who have a fear of something usually don't do it at all.
I think AJ be bullshitting for the camera. Like
It's something.
if
It's
she
something
would
there.
just stop focusing on trying to give us good TV and moments and just like do her job, I think that
Like the lessons were
it would be
profound.
better.
No, I understand where she's coming from. It's just you can't put yourself to exude them if that's not something you live in reality of. I feel like a lot of people do that. A lot of life coaches do that, where they may not have went through the experience but have the same fear, and they put this in your mind that if you conquer it, then you'll end up on the other side of it. But you have to understand something. If you don't naturally fear that, that's easier said than done to the person who actually does fear that. Like you can't do that. Like I feel like that's the wrong message to give to
Mm,
people.
yeah,
Like that's the wrong
a lot
message
of
because there's
wrong
a million
messages.
ways to do one thing. There
Mhm,
really is. So
mhm.
you just can't do it that way. So do you have anything to add? Because I'm gonna move on from this. Okay, good. So moving on, Ronnie has left. He's went to go do his show, and we get to her conversation with Shamari, which to me was just on one occasion it breaks my heart. On the second occasion, it's like I'm so sick of you and Ronnie. And then on the third thing, I got where AJ was saying once again, she's using metaphoric, like kind of hypothetical treatments to hinder something that she does not know the in-depth issue of. Because this goes beyond Shabari needing to take care of herself. This goes beyond that. So I got what she was saying, but this does not match what Shamari is going through.
It didn't.
So it
It
didn't
didn't.
match. So to give everyone a hindrance, so Shamari gained weight, and Ronnie's like, "Oh, I like the weight," and Shamari, does not feel good about herself. So AJ makes a correlation that, well, what happens if you got, like, I don't know if she said cancer or something. She said something where you have to get treated for it. She goes, would you make the time for that? And Shamari said, absolutely. She goes, so then why can't you prevent it from happening? And I said, AJ, I said, that is two different. I get what she was saying. Two different. She needed to use another analogy because not everybody can prevent cancer from happening.
If she cared about these people and helping them to be better, and not just about being back on TV after nobody saw her for so long that she had to go and seek out a life coaching certificate, then maybe she would have found the right way. The whole scene irritated me. That's why you saw my text. I told him this episode was underwhelming. I felt it was underwhelming. I was not impressed. It was literally the exact same shit that they have been talking about for the last 5 fucking episodes, and we're on episode 6. I'm really over it. And then AJ, you're just now deciding, let me go talk to Shamari. Let's give Shamari a job since Ronnie's gone. And then you talking to this woman and you say that her weight gain. Now, I did like the point she kind of made to Shamari because she was like, you do a lot of bitching, but you're not correcting nothing. In my opinion, Mari does a lot of this and complaining. Oh, I can't do this because of the kids. I can't do this because Ron is traveling. My career ended because this person in my group did this. I can't take this gig because of that. I need to get back to me. I want to put out an album. I want to do this. I want to do that. He was an encore with a group. Y'all had opportunity to put out an album. She announced that she was doing a solo album. It never came out. That's on you. You're independent, so that's on you. And then it's like the weight gain. You have twins, sis, and they've been walking for a couple years now. So now you're deciding to cry about weight gain, like you don't know what to do with it or you've never experienced it. I don't care if I ain't got kids. Name one woman you know who's had kids and did not struggle at some point or worry about losing baby weight. Like, obviously, you got to gain weight to have the kid so that they can eat. So then
But
once the
she
kid is
didn't
gone,
have
you
that
still
weight
have
on
weight.
her when she got them twins. So she didn't
Exactly.
have that
That's why
weight.
I call bullshit. And I'm like, okay, you've been eating. And then she's like, oh, I gained 30 pounds.
Yeah, that's from
Shut up,
depression.
Shamari.
That's if
Shut
you
up.
honestly, that's depression. When you gain that much weight, that's depression. Because
You
that's
feel
like
depressed? I don't think she's depressed, though.
I
I,
think she
I
is.
mean, she
I
might be
think
depressed, but not to the extent that it's causing her to just gain weight. Like, I
no,
just
I
feel like
think that
Shamari lazy.
she might be. I'm
I
not
think she's
dismissing that. I
lazy.
think she is lazy as well. But my point is that I honestly something is always going to hold you back from doing what you want to do. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that that's a realization for everybody. For me, it's money. For somebody else, it could be, family, or it could be a spouse. It could be, it's always going to be something. But you find different ways to make some things happen. Like I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. Me and Mrs. Best both ain't got no camera to do this. We're using the cameras from our computer. We both say we need cameras. Things came up for me where I couldn't buy my camera. I had to pay bills. I had to do other responsibilities. But we're still on here doing this YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
And she tells me all the time, you still can do because I want to do movies and watch my reaction. I have to figure that out. And she
Mm-hmm.
tells me every day, you still need to do it. I'll do it with you. And so we're going to make a commitment to do it. And I think that with Shamari, I feel like she doesn't have what I have, which is someone that's willing to push me to do it and
She
find
has
different
those
direction.
people. She
You
has
think she
those
does? I
people.
don't think so.
When you think
I
back
think
to the housewives and all the help that she has to keep coming on this show talking about the same issues in her relationship, I feel like Shamari has help. I feel like she's hard-headed and lazy.
okay, it could be
And I
that.
also think she's a bit self-centered. But
I
I'm
can now
not
see. I agree with the self-centered part because this whole, even with that conversation with her and Ronnie, it was such a self-centered moment. It
mm,
was like, well, why don't you do it and send him the bill? Like, why don't you do it and put the kids in the corner and record your little song and just say, okay, baby, it's time to go. Like, I have seen that. I have seen a woman get her whole degree while a professor was holding her baby. Like, I have seen it. So it's like,
my
you
mom,
know,
I remember being a little girl in classes with her
yeah.
at whatever the fuck school that is in San Francisco. But she got her master's degree, her bachelor's degree, and she did it while having 4 babies back to back. So
Yeah, you just,
I
yeah.
don't like when I see people complain about things when they're in such a place. You don't have it as hard as you could. I don't even have kids, but you got twins, you got the husband, you're not a single parent. When your husband is away, you have the ability to pay for nannies. You also have, in addition to that, help from family members on both sides of your family, in addition to friends. You are crying and crying about, oh, my career, I can't do things because of Ronnie, but you're able to come on television. And I've seen her do things without him. So for me, I just don't really have empathy for these people anymore. Specifically
I
Shamari. She needs to, like, if you
yeah.
want to work and go do a reality show of just you trying to figure out your life. Go back and do something with Carlos King on BET or call. You're married to Ronnie DeVoe. If she wanted to work, boom. So that's why I feel she's lazy. But I mean, we just don't know. I'm just tired of
We don't know, so we don't know how hard she really has it. But I'm just gonna say, maybe Shamar, you should start being honest about what you need
it. Mm.
versus, kind of tucking it away because you're afraid of how Ronnie's gonna react to it. Just
They
say,
were
when
brought
you get
onto this damn show to be like the highlighted married
and they
couple
have
to help.
the worst issues of them all. That's just what it is.
And
Just
they try
call
to say, how long you been married? Uh,
that don't
16
even matter
years.
at this
With
point.
it, it's like just because you've been married a long time, that don't mean shit.
That because obviously you've been married all this time and ignored a whole lot on
Right.
all them years.
Y'all on
So
here
I
with
don't even want to hear
25-year
that.
old couples. Yeah.
Yes. So that's enough about. So to kind of end this scene, AJ had an engagement that she had to go to, and she has asked Shamari to fill in for her while she's at this engagement. And since Ronnie is not there to be the other counterpart for her, going forward, Apollo and Shireen. Mm, mm, mm. Apollo, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for being the most, narcissistic, pessimistic ass motherfucker I thought you always were. Thank you for showing me that because I always knew it was there. And you tried to disguise it. I can't even hear you. Hold
Oh,
on.
I don't know what happened. But now we know why Phaedra never let him say too much on the Housewives of Atlanta.
Absolutely.
There ain't shit there. That's all.
Absolutely. He ain't no good. And I don't understand. I get he's attractive. I understand all of that. But when you really peeled out the onion, you realize that shit stinks.
Hmm. That's a great. I love that.
You realize that shit stinks. And
Yeah.
right away, too. Because to see this man at the beginning of this session expose all of this about his prison life, about how he sleeps, the same shit she's like trying to understand why he does this. You expose all of this to AJ. And she's sitting there like, oh my God, I had no idea. And not to mention, this woman uprooted her life and her daughter's life to
Don't feel bad
follow
for
you.
her.
I
Don't
don't
feel
feel bad for her. I don't feel bad for her because
it's
that's
like, don't
stupid.
do that.
No, no. I'm just saying for him to blame her for anything is just beyond me because she's stupid. There is no absolute way in hell I would move to a city that he's not even in, mind you, while he's in prison. He's not even in the city that you moved to. He just gave you a promise and you just went with it. So
Well, it's
that just
probably where when you get out of prison, they often get sent places that aren't in the city where they committed their crime. So that could be why it was a whole different place, or the halfway house that they go to, or their probationary period after the halfway. That could be why. Either way, we really need to get James, y'all, to start watching Love After Lockup because there's a new season coming this summer. And then once you see an episode or two, you're gonna be like, yeah, he behaved like all of the guys on there. I think
I
Apollo got with her just because Phaedra was done with it and he wasn't sure if the relationships he built from the housewives would be enough for people to visit him and do that. Which it turned out to be. I know that Peter has supported him, Todd has supported him. He's had a lot of support from people, but this personally, I think that Shireen, here's the thing, Apollo's a convict, so you expect a convict to fuck up. You don't expect the best things, right? Let's just call a spade a spade.
right.
But Shireen, I think it's easy for people to be like, oh, she did all of this for him. That woman is just as tactical and manipulative as him, just in different
Absolutely.
ways. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because anytime you uproot your life for something that's not even promised to you, you have to understand okay, so you're just as manipulative because there's no way you could have thought that this situation was going to end well. And I'm not even gonna say it ended well, like because she's going through a lot. We saw this at the end of the episode. We saw this. So
She ain't going through nothing. She fine. She
no,
fine.
she's going through something. I just think that she didn't get what she thought she was gonna get when it came to
She
him.
knew. Here's my thing with her. She probably did not get what she thought she was going to get. But you got with this man. You seeked him out. He did not come and find you. You seeked him out
Right.
while he was locked up and not divorced yet. So I don't feel anything. If you think back when Phaedra was still visiting him and still a part of that doggone show, Shireen was already seeing him because it was a thing. Oh, Apollo has a girlfriend. How do you feel about that? So she's been around for years. So it's like we're supposed to feel bad for you when you chose to get with somebody in jail and you chose to get with somebody in jail who was well known. You looking like you was looking for a come up. I don't care. And then you go further than that and you stay with this person for 5+ years with no type of a ring or commitment or nothing. Then right before you finally have your moment on TV is when you finally decide y'all want to get married. I feel like Apollo is not innocent in this, but I feel like, convicts could read somebody and they're smarter than most people on the outside. They just don't know what to do with it. And that's why they end up in jail, in my opinion. I feel like he knows very well and probably realized that this woman is probably looking for a come up. And now that she's not getting it and is causing issues,
Right.
she's like, okay, well, let me get exactly what I want in this relationship. Because if you peep at the end of that episode with them two, he actually finally attempted, even though I think his try was just for the camera and bullshit, but he actually tried to give her what she wanted. And there was a comment made, and don't quote me on it, but something along the lines of, well, if I don't fix these, so you want these things to be fixed right now? You're not giving me time to work it through? She's like, yeah. So it's like she expects a change like that. And she said that herself. So I don't know.
Yeah, she said that herself, but I feel like the things she's asking him to change aren't like a detrimental, like to his being. I feel
But
like
if
the thing,
somebody is the way that they are, and that's what people forget in relationships, we can want people to change all we want. And it may be a simple change from the outside looking in. But if a person is wired that way, especially that's why AJ brought that up. People who've been to jail have to decompress, as we've seen in the episode that's going to premiere. He says he was in solitary for 100 days. The psychological impacts that he went through in that jail and the way he talked about it a little bit in this episode, he's definitely traumatized in
well,
some way, and he
yes,
didn't need a relationship. But
that's
to
what I
affect
was just gonna
someone in
say
that
that.
situation, knowing that you got with someone from jail and you was trying to talk to different inmates, you should know that it's going to take them
I'm not,
longer to fix certain stuff.
yeah, I'm not taking the responsibility from her because yeah, that's a stupid shit. That's some stupid shit to do. I'm sorry, that's very stupid shit to do. But what I'm gonna say is that at the same time, he also engaged too, also put the ring on her finger, also chose to marry her knowing he had these issues.
Mhm.
So I get what you're saying that no, he's not exempt from this. But at the same time, if we're supposed to measure, and yes, I'm gonna measure blame. The one time I'm gonna measure blame on the situation, she right here, he right here. They don't go together. Sorry, that
No,
doesn't go
they don't.
together.
They don't.
So I'm sorry. He has more blame than she does. I am sorry because ultimately he could say no the
He
same way
can't
she could
say
have.
no. But
He could
just
say
because
no.
someone
He
can
could say I'm
say
not
no
ready.
doesn't make. I think the thing too with people, I have a lot of people in my family who've done like serious time and come out.
Hmm.
They, when they're in there, also are lonely. They don't express themselves as well. And so a lot of times I feel like people just put the blame on them for stuff. At the end of the day, I don't care what he agreed to or didn't agree to. The man was in jail. The woman seeked him out. Of course, when you're getting out of jail, you're not knowing where you're going to go, and you have this person who's been supporting you in there. You're like, oh, because he said that. You're like, I love her. She stood by me. She wrote me. She was asleep. Like, he appreciates the things that she does. I think the issue with those two is she's gold digger and shady a little bit. I think she's looking for a come up. But if you take away that from the issue, I definitely feel Apollo, bless you, Apollo and Shireen, I don't even know how to word it.
I'm gonna say this
No
because
one's right
I
and no
get
one's wrong because
yes.
both parties knew what they were getting into. That's what I'll
I'm gonna
say.
say that I'm gonna say this too. I get what you were saying, but if this was Apollo's first time, I would have made an allowance for that. I would agree with you, but
Mhm.
this is not his first time in prison.
Exactly, and she knew that. I think
And
they're
so did
equally
he. So did he. That's why I'm saying you knew what you went through the first time. Prison doesn't change 10 years later. It is still the exact, it's probably worse.
Yep.
So the thing about it is, I'm sorry. No, 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 no. I cannot just say that, okay, he, is going through all of this and, you know, and probably is lonely and stuff like that. Yeah, but this wasn't his first time in prison. This is what I'm trying to get people to understand.
His first time in prison, you have to remember he had Phaedra.
And did the exact same, which is
And
why
so
I say exactly that proves my
that's why I
point. This
don't
is
feel
not,
bad for this woman at all because she knew that she did not care and she still pursued him.
yeah,
She
I get that. No, I'm not saying
she
she's
not
exempt from this,
only
but my point is he has the wherewithal because he has access. Let's not act like Apollinaire does not have access. He has
Mhm,
access being a criminal. He
mhm,
out there driving Rolls Royces and stuff out there in Atlanta. We're not gonna
mhm.
act like he ain't got no access to get help or to get himself. He doesn't want it. He just wants what he wants at the moment that he gets it.
What
And that's just
city did they move to? Shireen. Did she move to Atlanta for him?
yeah, she said that.
Okay, well that makes sense. He's got small kids there.
Yeah.
So
She said
yeah.
that they moved to Atlanta for she moved to Atlanta. I think she came from like Jersey or something and she moved to
Philadelphia.
Atlanta. Oh, Philadelphia. I knew it was somewhere up there. So
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm sorry, I just that whole so when they were going through their skits and everything and all that kind of it
The
just made
wannabe
me
marriage boot camp without the licensed doctors to practice the exercise.
right, that shit was crazy. That's all that. I was like, that was that same exercise they do. But you
It's
know
the
what?
same one. Yeah. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
therapeutic exercise, it's known, but
So when Dr. says if he doesn't change, are you gonna stay with him? Do you really think she's gonna leave him?
no. And
I agree.
here's my thing. I don't think Shireen is going to leave him now because there's no one else interested in her. But I think the moment that somebody interested with a status even just slightly higher than his, I'm talking half of a centimeter, um, I think she'll be gone faster than my front door can close. And my front door closed
Oh,
pretty fast. I do.
oh,
That lady, everybody I've been seeing online, I know I probably got to get flack for this. I don't care. I'm very good at reading people. And I'm trying to tell you, I got 100% rate. Ain't read nobody incorrectly yet when it comes down to finding out what's really what. This lady is just as bad as him. And I think that's why they're not going to work, but that's why they've been able to work for so long because they
hmm
don't realize they're bonding over their negative and shady attributes and personality traits. They both
absolutely.
like to manipulate. They both, if you peep, oh, he's aggressive, he likes, but in that room when she's not in front of the group and they have their little interactions, if you look at every episode, she gets snippy right back with him. She's just
Absolutely,
as
she
bad.
does.
She's just some convicts ain't found their way to prison. That's all I'll say about
Oh,
her.
ho, ho,
I
ho,
don't
ho,
feel
ho.
sorry for this woman at all. I don't. And
Well,
then
well.
she keeps pairing. I moved my 13-year-old child to be. Yeah, you did because the kids he got is smaller. And if he wasn't a convict and you guys just met on Snapchat or whatever the hell people meet on these days, it probably would have been usually the person with the smaller children stays closer to their children because those children need him more, especially being young black men. You have a 13-year-old daughter, you her mama, where you go, she go. You fine. You chose to uproot your daughter and now you want people to feel bad because of it. No. So I think that lady is just as much a criminal as him. She just ain't been caught yet. She a
Oh,
gold digger.
well,
Because
well.
why who the hell, when you look at Love After Lockup and the differences, there those people do the same thing. They get with people who are in jail and they have high expectations, but at the same time, those expectations obviously get let down. Issues happen in the relationship. But see, on Love After Lockup, when these things happen, when the inmate F's up or does these things, there's no, oh, we're going to break up and oh, this and that. They could go broke. These women that will stay with these criminals on that show is crazy. These men could go back to jail. A couple of them are in jail and they'll stay with them. Shireen don't give that vibe. She give me the I held you down once, I'm not doing it again, which is shady to have that mindset when you literally went to jails looking for him. Because I wouldn't know how to find a prisoner. Hell, I couldn't find my own cousin when he was locked up a few months ago. Shit was
Girl,
difficult.
I ain't gonna never shoot a knife. Lord
It's
Jesus.
true. It's true. People always, and I'm gonna say it as a female. Sometimes females get off like, "Oh, he did you so wrong." Like when I was single, you could call my exes. Some of them still crying 10 years later. Women can be just as bad, honestly, worse than men. Fart, my husband's looking at me like, "What the f?"
Well, y'all, she said it. Like, but anywho, I'm gonna say this. It's I can't. This
He's
series
speechless. He's like, "What is she doing?"
because no, because I get what she's saying, but y'all, I'm about to end this on the note that we on right now. Because as I said, couples retreat is some bullshit. It
There's
really
nothing else to
is,
talk
and
about.
there's nothing else to talk about. I'm not even
They're
gonna bring
trying
up.
too hard to copy other couple shows that have existed before.
So MTV, the people in y'all call center, me and Amina are available to host the next season. I'm not saying you have to fire AJ or
She might not like to work with me.
you ain't got to fire her, but maybe she could be in the back somewhere, executive producing. Like maybe she could be in there holding the camera. I don't know. We are available
In the
because
background, dig deeper.
we got this. Is what I'm gonna yell. We got this.
Is this the last episode, or will there'll be no?
No,
Duh.
I think there's 10 episodes, I believe.
Hmm.
So
Okay, we're
these
almost done.
we're almost done.
Know
We
what
get
else is
into it
gonna
because I'm
happen?
telling you, I've been wanting to drop this show. She could tell you, I've been wanting to drop the show since episode 2. I am so over this show.
He has, and he ended up having it on his channel.
Yeah, I have it on my channel because she picked up something else, but that's okay. I'm gonna get her. That's
No,
okay.
I didn't want it.
I need the content, damn it. All right, you guys, that's it. We're gonna end this on that. We will continue on because I'm getting a lot of views for this show. So I'm gonna continue on, even though I don't like it. Like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. We will be doing this on Wednesdays as well. We added Wednesday update week, so it's every Tuesday and Wednesday. We will be on these lives. So I will be doing couples retreat, and she'll be picking up the premiere of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta next week
God
on Tu-
behave.
on Tuesday. Make sure y'all catch us for Real Housewives of Atlanta, Bell Collective, and also Summer House Martha's Vineyard. We do this every week. We are being consistent.
Catalog that.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we'll get this catalog going. I am going to try to do a movie review that's up and coming. I'm going to try it sometime next week. We'll see how that goes, and hopefully it goes well. And that's all that we have up and coming, y'all. Make sure you follow us both, like, comment, and subscribe. Damn it. I'm just saying, I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
He's
But
not playing. Subscribe to him,
subscribe
y'all.
to this channel, yeah, because it's sad to
He's
see at
taking
one
the
point.
time. We don't ask for money. We just ask for a button.
I want to rock YouTube, not y'all. But you know, hey, have a good one, you guys. Be safe. Love all y'all. I'll talk to y'all soon.
Goodbye, beautiful black man.
Goodbye. Goodbye, beautiful black sister. Bye.